People that know me, they know why I make the decisions that I make. Why it seems like believers in God are always trying to tell other people about it. And they also know that I never make a single one of them to hurt anyone.
In a series of emotional revelations that sent shockwaves through her fanbase, McClain pulled back the curtain on her experience in the entertainment industry and shared truths that many child stars keep hidden for years. Her candid admissions about the cost of fame, the death of her closest friend, and her ultimate decision to walk away from it all have left fans both stunned and inspired. What drove this talented young woman to publicly declare that she was done with Hollywood as she knew it? Join us as we explore the stunning revelations from China Anne McClain, a former Disney darling who chose truth over the illusion of stardom. The industry illusion. China Anne McClain didn't just suggest that she was unhappy with Hollywood. She spoke out clearly and without any shame. In November 2020, during a very emotional 13-minute video on Instagram that would change her career for good, McClain made a powerful statement that caught the attention of her fans and left them speechless. "Everything you see here is just a trick," she said, her voice shaking with feelings. "It's just a trick. This whole industry, what it really is, and all the things people admire and celebrate don't really matter." Her words felt like a huge explosion in the world of entertainment. This was a young woman who had all the things that many young actors wished for, openly saying that the whole system was pointless. McClain shared that she was not talking out of anger, but from a new understanding. She said it felt like she had been living in a dream, trapped in the busy world of fame, and only now was she really seeing things for what they were. The pandemic gave her a chance to take a step back and think about what was truly important to her, and she realized that Hollywood was not one of those things. For a 22-year-old who had been working since she was just 7 years old, this was more than just a job choice. It was a way to break free from an industry that had shaped her whole life. What had caused such a big change in her perspective? And what new information would she share about the true price of her fame as a child? The work, work, work mentality. McClain's honest thoughts about her feelings toward work revealed a struggle that many child stars face but often do not talk about openly. In a conversation with Teen Vogue, she shared something that showed just how tough her young life had been. She explained that she had become very focused on working hard and achieving success, pushed by reasons she was just starting to figure out. This obsession took over her life, making it hard for her to see what really mattered. "I was really caught up in working all the time, trying to get ahead," McClain shared. "I got so wrapped up in it because I truly love acting. Even though I don't like this industry, I really enjoy making things and creating art." This difference, she pointed out, was very important. She made it clear that her true love for acting was separate from her dislike of the business side of it. Her choice to take a break wasn't about losing her passion for performing. It was about saying no to the unhealthy parts that came with it. McClain talked about how her strong desire to succeed took away her chance to have normal experiences and a balanced life. She started performing when she was just 7 years old, after a music executive heard her sing. By the time she was 8, she was acting in big movies. At the age of 10, Tyler Perry chose her to be a regular on one of his shows. By 13, she had her own Disney Channel show made just for her special talents. Throughout all this time, she never really had a chance to just be a kid, to enjoy life without the pressure to always perform and create. She suddenly understood that she had been stuck in this same pattern since she was a child, and it felt like a big wake-up call. However, it would take an even more heartbreaking event to really pull her out of the fantasy world of Hollywood. Cameron Boyce's devastating death. On July 6, 2019, China Anne McClain experienced a life-changing moment that she had never faced before. Her best friend, Cameron Boyce, who was also her closest confidant and someone she had known since they were kids, working together on the movie Grown Ups, passed away unexpectedly at the young age of just 20 years old. He died peacefully in his sleep due to a seizure caused by epilepsy, a health issue that very few people knew he had been struggling with for a long time. When McClain finally found the courage to talk about her friend's death in public, she couldn't stop her sadness.
We were hanging out with a couple of our friends, one of them being a friend that we've both known as long as we've known each other.
In a series of Instagram videos, she wore Cameron's hat that he had left in her room while they were filming Descendants 2, and she completely broke down. To Mr. Vic, Mrs. Libby, and Maya, "I am so very sorry," she said, speaking directly to Cameron's family. "You all lost a son and a brother, and I lost my best friend, my closest friend, and my friend for the longest time. I will never have another friend like Cameron again." Her voice was filled with deep sadness, and it was clear how much she cared. The sadness in her voice was very clear, deep, and completely real. McClain shared that she had known Cameron for 10 years and acted in 4 movies with him, but she had no idea he was dealing with epilepsy. The secret was kept so well that even his closest friends did not know. She talked on TMZ Live about how she would sometimes reach for her phone to text him, forgetting for a moment that he was no longer here, only to be hit with the painful truth all over again. It was a tough moment for her, realizing how much she missed him and how unexpected his struggles had been. Cameron's death not only shattered McClain's heart, but it also completely changed how she viewed what was truly important in life. She began to think about the lessons she could learn from her friend who had passed away. Cameron's final message: to let go. After Cameron Boyce passed away, China Anne McClain remembered a special piece of advice that her friend had often shared with her. This advice helped her change her direction away from the Hollywood life she had known since she was a kid. Cameron always told her to let go of her strong desire to control everything. He encouraged her to stop being so focused on work and success, and instead to enjoy the present moment. This advice became very important to her as she tried to find a new way to live her life. "I used to be really busy all the time, always working hard and trying to get ahead, because I truly love acting," McClain told Teen Vogue. "But after Cameron died, it made me think a lot. Now, I don't care about those things like I used to. I don't think I need to make sure I achieve this and keep working. Instead, I focus on what's around me right now. I try to enjoy this moment and trust in God and my family. Whatever happens in the acting world will happen, and that's okay." This change was a big shift in how McClain thought about life. She had spent so many years always looking for the next acting job, the next award, or the next big success. When Cameron died, it hit her hard and reminded her that life is very delicate. It showed her that no one can be sure about what tomorrow will bring. She realized that just getting more credits on IMDb didn't matter if it meant losing who she really was along the way. McClain shared that she felt like she was finally wide awake for the very first time in her life. However, being awake also meant noticing things that were much easier to overlook when she was busy with everything around her. Some of these realizations were hard to accept and would hurt her feelings deeply. The cost of child stardom. China. Anne McClain's path from being a child performer to becoming a young adult who feels let down is similar to the experiences of many other child stars. However, what makes her different is her courage to talk about her feelings openly. She started working in the entertainment industry when she was just 7 years old, which means she has spent more of her life in show business than outside of it. The mental and emotional effects of being in this world at such a young age were things she was just starting to understand when she reached her early 20s. China and her family moved to Los Angeles so that she and her siblings could chase their dreams of becoming famous. China, along with her 2 older sisters, Sierra and Lauren, created a musical group called the McClain Sisters. They were signed to a record label called Hollywood Records, while China was acting in a show called A&T Farm. The McClain sisters wrote and performed songs for big Disney projects and looked like they were living a perfect life. But behind the scenes, things were much more complicated than they seemed. The show, A.N.T. Farm, ended after 3 seasons, and McClain called the ending bittersweet, which means it was both happy and sad. At the same time, it was announced that the McClain sisters had left Hollywood Records, which made people think that their lives were not as perfect as they looked. Disney worked hard to create a public image that made everything seem great, but this did not allow for real feelings about struggles or disappointments to be shown. McClain would later admit that she had been playing a game she didn't fully understand, following rules she hadn't agreed to, and chasing goals that someone else had defined for her. The question was whether she could break free, and if so, at what cost? The spiritual awakening. China Anne McClain's transformation had a very big moment when she told everyone that she was leaving the show Black Lightning. It wasn't just because the show was coming to an end, even though it was. Instead, she said that God was guiding her to do something different. This was not just a simple or unclear statement about faith. It was a strong and clear message that she was finished with the kind of entertainment that was not religious, the way she had always known it. "I'm doing God's work now, and that is all I'm doing," McClain stated emphatically in her November 2020 Instagram video. "I don't know why I was wasting time before." The bluntness of this statement shocked fans who'd watched her build a successful career across multiple platforms. She wasn't just taking a break or exploring new opportunities. She was categorically rejecting the work she had been doing and redefining her entire purpose. McClain explained that the 2020 pandemic and quarantine period had given her the space to undergo what she described as spiritual journeys that led her to this decision. She spoke of feeling God moving her in ways that were bigger than any television show or movie role could ever be. "When He calls, I'm going to follow," she said through tears. "I don't care where He leads me. I don't care if it's in the middle of Timbuktu somewhere, living off of a couple of pennies and a dime for the rest of my life with my family doing missionary work. I would leave all of this behind." For someone who had been groomed for stardom since early childhood, this represented a complete renunciation of everything she had been working toward. But was this really just about faith, or was there something darker about the industry that had driven her away? The dark side of entertainment. China Anne McClain became increasingly vocal about the entertainment industry's darker aspects after her departure from Black Lightning. Through her TikTok account with over 16 million followers, McClain began posting videos that called out what she saw as the spiritual emptiness and moral corruption of Hollywood. Her statements weren't subtle. They were direct challenges to an industry that had made her famous. McClain distinguished between her love of creating art and her disgust with this industry, making it clear that she saw a fundamental problem with how entertainment was produced and consumed. "I don't like this industry, but I love creating things, creating art," she stated plainly. This separation suggested that she had witnessed or experienced things that contradicted her values and had finally become impossible to ignore. On her TikTok, McClain posted content about her faith but also made pointed comments about the entertainment world. She spoke about the difference between having a personal relationship with God and being religious, suggesting that organized systems often become more about power and control than genuine spirituality or artistry. Her criticism implied that she had seen how the machine operated from the inside, and it had left her deeply troubled. When Lil Nas X released his controversial Montero music video in March 2021, McClain posted content that many interpreted as criticism of the demonic imagery and religious symbolism. Though she never mentioned Lil Nas X by name, the message was clear to her followers. The backlash showed how difficult it was for McClain to navigate her newfound convictions while still existing in the public eye. The price of speaking out. McClain's decision to be so vocal about her faith and her criticisms of the entertainment industry came with real consequences. After she announced her departure from Black Lightning to focus on God's work, her IMDb page showed a noticeable slowdown in new projects. While she attributed this to her own choices, The reality of Hollywood's response to outspoken Christian actors is well documented. Her net worth, estimated at around $2 million, was significantly lower than her descendants' co-stars like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, who had accumulated between $4 million and $6 million. While McClain had been working longer than many of them, her decision to step back at what should have been her peak earning years undoubtedly affected her financial trajectory. But McClain seemed unconcerned with these material considerations. "I'd rather live my life awake and understanding what the truth is, because there's only one," she declared. "There's only one truth. I'm going to live in it for the rest of my life, however long I have, and nobody's going to stop me at this point. I've made my decision." The determination in her voice suggested that she had counted the cost and decided it was worth paying. But how would fans react to this new version of China Anne McClain? The fan reaction and controversy. The reaction to China. Anne McClain's big change was just as mixed as you might think. Some fans, especially those who shared her Christian beliefs, admired her bravery for picking her faith over fame and money. They viewed her as a role model who was ready to give up everything for what she thought was right and true. Some fans, on the other hand, felt confused, disappointed, or even angry about her choices. When McClain shared a video in November 2023 where she took part in the popular Water Challenge, which included twerking and dancing, some of her supporters who had backed her religious change felt let down. Many comments came in, asking if she was moving away from the church and wondering why she had left Black Lightning just to do this. Many of McClain's fans quickly came to her defense. They said that dancing was not against her beliefs, and that some people were expecting too much from her. This situation showed how closely people watch those who are open about their spiritual paths. It can be really tough when someone talks about their faith, especially if they also criticize the entertainment world while still being active on social media. Throughout everything, McClain kept sharing posts that showed how her understanding of faith and purpose was changing. She talked about how there is a big difference between just acting religious and really having a true relationship with God. This made it clear that her journey was much more complicated than just saying she was leaving Hollywood for Jesus. She wanted people to see that her choices were based on deep feelings and thoughts, not just a simple decision. But there was one final revelation that would clarify exactly where she stood. The future she's building. Despite stepping back from traditional Hollywood projects, China Anne McClain revealed that she had no intention of disappearing from entertainment entirely. Instead, she announced plans to start her own production company with her family, one that would create fundamentally different content. During an appearance on The Drew Barrymore Show, McClain explained that she had stories to tell that could help young people constantly reaching out to her on social media. "I have a lot of stories that I want to tell that I think are going to help a lot of these kids," she explained. Her vision was to create entertainment that would teach y'all something, or show you new avenues that entertainment doesn't show you, particularly regarding faith and spiritual truth. This wasn't about making traditional Christian movies, but infusing genuine spiritual substance into quality entertainment. McClain kept working on her music career with her sisters, and they called themselves Thri. She was dedicated to her family and their common creative ideas.
I've never gotten that before. It definitely influenced it a lot. All of my siblings and I, we have very soulful voices.
She expressed that she really loved acting and making art, and she had not stopped pursuing those interests. What she did decide to stop was the exhausting struggle of trying to meet other people's ideas of success and being part of systems that didn't match her beliefs. Instead, she wanted to focus on what truly mattered to her and her family. In November 2024, McClain reflected on her decision to return for Descendants, The Rise of Red, the first film in the franchise made after Cameron Boyce's death. She admitted being apprehensive about revisiting that world because losing Cam was the first heartbreak I've ever experienced. But seeing the excitement of the new generation reminded her of herself making the original films, and she felt Cameron would have wanted the franchise to continue. The experience proved healing, showing that her journey away from mainstream Hollywood didn't mean abandoning all connection to her past. McClain's ultimate message was about waking up, seeing clearly, and choosing authentically. She spoke about being wide awake for the first time and acknowledged that being awake meant feeling pain more intensely. When you're wide awake, you're more aware that things hurt you more, she admitted. But, that's okay, because I'd rather be awake. I'd rather live my life awake and understand what the truth is. China. Anne McClain's journey from Disney darling to outspoken critic of the entertainment industry represents something rarely seen in Hollywood. A young star willing to risk everything to live according to her convictions. Her revelations about the illusory nature of fame, the cost of childhood stardom, the spiritual emptiness of mainstream entertainment, and her decision to walk away at the height of her career have inspired some and baffled others. But whether you agree with her choices or not, there's no denying the courage it takes to publicly declare that the thing you've worked for your entire life isn't worth having. McClain's story raises profound questions about what we're really asking of child performers and what cost we're willing to pay for fame. Her willingness to speak openly about Cameron Boyce's impact on her life, her disillusionment with the industry, and her commitment to a different path has given voice to struggles that many former child stars experience but rarely articulate so directly. As McClain continues building her own production company and creating content that reflects her values, she's attempting to prove that there's another way to make art without selling your soul. Time will tell whether her vision succeeds, but her honesty has already changed the conversation about what it means to be a young black woman navigating faith, fame, and Hollywood's expectations. Which of China Anne McClain's revelations shocked you the most? Do you think she made the right decision to walk away from mainstream Hollywood? Or should she have found a way to stay and create change from within? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.